My husband got fully dressed at 10 p.m. and said he had to go out for some office work. He told me he'd return by morning. He had never gone out this late at night for office work before, so it was quite surprising. Looking at the way he had dressed, it didn't seem like he was going to the office. I became anxious. This huge mansion-like house, and I was supposed to spend the entire night alone with my 12-year-old daughter. I had never stayed alone before. Nervously, I said, "Moise, don't leave me alone. Take me and Charmaine with you." My husband gently placed his hands on my shoulders and said, "It's just one night, darling. I'll be back early in the morning." Even the thought of being alone scared me. I pleaded again, "What's the harm in taking us with you? We won't bother you." For some reason, Moisey became irritated. "Why are you stuck on the same thing?" I said, "No. If you're that scared, call the maid from the servant quarters." I looked at Moisey angrily and said, "So, now it's come to this? I have to call servants to stay in my room with me." "Try to make sense," he replied. "Then go sleep in the servant quarters yourself. What's the big deal?" That angered me deeply. I had been raised in palaces. My father was a well-known businessman in the city. Even after marriage, I came into a grand home. Why would I sleep near lowly servants? I didn't even allow them in my room. Moise said, "Fine, lock your room and sleep peacefully. If you still feel uneasy, call Anila or go sleep in the quarters. Charmaine is with you too. Let her sleep in your room tonight." The mention of Anila startled me. I didn't know why, but I had always held a grudge against her. If it were up to me, I would have thrown her out ages ago. But whenever I brought it up, Moise defended her, saying she was poor and didn't deserve cruelty. But truth be told, it was her beauty that burned my insides. Despite owning millions in property, I wasn't as beautiful as Anila, who lived in the servant quarters. I told Moise, "Go, I'll take care of it." Who knows what kind of urgent meeting? He suddenly remembered at this hour. He kissed my forehead and left. I locked my room and sat alone. Charmaine had already gone to sleep. She always slept early because of school. A short while later, I felt like a shadow flickered by the window. I curled up, terrified. I felt fear and anger. After some time passed peacefully, I thought maybe I had imagined it. But then again, I saw a similar shadow. The back wall of the house was low, so I feared someone may have jumped over, but there were guards all around. How could someone get in so easily? 1,000 thoughts ran through my mind. I didn't even have the courage to go to Charmaine's room to bring her with me. The fear was intense. Unwillingly, I remembered Moise's words. Maybe I should have called Anila, but I couldn't stand her. My husband showed too much sympathy toward her, and I believed it was because of her beauty. Despite being the mistress of the house, I felt my husband sided with her. I shook off the thought of calling Anila and stayed curled up on the bed. Every few minutes, some faint noise would make my heart jump. Eventually, when I couldn't take it anymore, I wrapped myself in a shawl and quietly stepped out. Charmaine's room was closed. She was fast asleep. I didn't want to wake her. The poor child would panic. I tiptoed around the house, checking to see if someone had broken in. Seeing nothing, I cautiously walked toward the servant quarters through the back door. Before I could knock on Anila's door, she opened it quickly and smiled. "Come in, madam. Please come in," she said, almost as if she had been expecting me. I was surprised and asked, "You're still awake?" Even at this late hour, she was well dressed, her hands filled with bangles, lipstick on her lips. She looked radiant, like a full moon. I was stunned. She said, "Sir told me before leaving that you'd be alone tonight and you might need me. So, I decided to stay awake. I know you're afraid of being alone, so I've been waiting for you." Then she added, "If you can't sleep, feel free to stay in my quarter tonight." That offer felt like a blow to my pride. Me, the lady of the house. Sleep in a servant's room? I immediately shook my head and said, "No, I just stepped out to get some fresh air. I'm going back now. You sleep peacefully." "Moise unnecessarily troubled you?" Anila asked. Are you sure you're okay? I can come with you if you want. I snapped. Just go to sleep. I'm fine. I stomped back inside. I hadn't seen anything outside. Maybe it was all in my head. I locked the door leading to the quarters tightly, but the moment I entered my room, I froze. It felt like someone had just leapt out of the window. Who's there? Who is it? I began calling out, but there was no response. At that moment, staying alone became impossible for me. I immediately ran towards the servant quarters and knocked on Anila's door. She opened it with a smile and said, "Come in, madam. Please stay here and sleep." I said, "No, you... come with me. Charmaine is there too." She came with me into the bungalow. I opened the door to Charmaine's room. She was sleeping peacefully, and all the windows were closed. I let her stay there and took Anila back to my room. I felt a little embarrassed. Just a while ago, I had been acting so brave in front of her, and now here I was, bringing her along to my room. Sleep had vanished from my eyes. I sat leaning against the bed's headboard. Anila noticed me sitting like that and said, "Madame, shall I massage your feet? You'll feel relaxed and fall asleep." I immediately refused, saying it wasn't necessary, but she insisted, "You get so tired running after Charmaine all day. Let me do it, please." Saying this, she fetched some oil from somewhere and started massaging my feet. The moment her soft hands touched the soles of my feet, my eyes began to close on their own. I didn't even realize when I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was lying sideways on the bed. The shawl I had worn during the night was no longer on me, and Anila was not in the room. I looked at the clock. It was 5 a.m. I called out for Anila, and she rushed in. Angry, I asked, "Where's my shawl? What were you trying to do?" She replied, "Madame, I spilled oil on it. I washed it and took it outside to dry." I looked at her with frustration. "You can never do anything properly. You're always too busy decorating yourself to do real work." I added, "Go now, it's almost morning. Sleep in the servant quarters. I'm fine now." Anila immediately sat down at my feet and pleaded, "Please, madam, I'm fine here. Don't ask me to leave. Let me continue massaging your feet." I looked at her in surprise. Why was she so unwilling to return to her quarters? I said firmly, "I'm fine. You go and sleep now. The sun will be up soon, and your master will be back too." Seeing my stern tone, she stood up and said, "If anything happens, just call me. I'll come running." With that, she left for the servant quarters. I felt at peace. Most of the night had passed. After she left, I fell asleep peacefully. But when I woke up a short while later, the ground slipped from beneath my feet, because I wasn't alone in the room. Someone else was there, very close to me. Before I could scream, a man in a black mask came even closer and clamped his hand over my mouth. My breath froze in my chest. My eyes widened with terror. I couldn't believe someone had gotten into my room so easily. I had locked the window after Anila left. I had locked the door too. How had he entered? The masked man held his hand over my mouth and warned, "Don't make a sound. Don't forget your daughter is in this house too. I'll kill you both." Then he slowly removed his hand from my mouth. I stayed silent, frozen with fear. I kept thinking about Charmaine. She was alone in her room. I regretted not bringing her into my room. I was terrified. Even the back door, I had locked it myself. I couldn't even call Anila now. If only I'd kept her with me until morning. In a trembling voice, I said to the masked man, "Take whatever you want, but please leave me and my daughter alone." He laughed at my words and said, "Shh, don't worry. I'll take exactly what I came for. This night will haunt you for the rest of your life." He stepped closer and bound both of my hands. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. And then he did what I couldn't have imagined in my worst nightmares. I had thought he was here for wealth, for gold and money, but his real intent was far more cruel. He came only to destroy me. In just a few moments, he had taken the most precious thing from me, my dignity. I couldn't understand why this happened to me. Who hated me enough to do this? There was no shortage of wealth in this grand mansion. He could have stolen jewelry worth millions, but he chose to crush my honor instead. He must have had a personal grudge. He ruthlessly tied up my arms and legs and said coldly, "Now that I'm done with you, it's your daughter's turn." My blood froze. I screamed, but he gagged me, and my voice died in my throat. I writhed like a fish out of water. Charmaine, my precious. Charmaine, she was the last memory of my late husband. Moise was my second husband, and I'd only married him on the condition that he would raise Charmaine as his own daughter. We were about to complete 2 years of marriage, and in these 2 years, I had never felt that marrying Moise was a mistake. He had been a wonderful husband and a devoted father. I had even hoped for a child with Moise, but perhaps fate had other plans. Despite our efforts, we never had a child together. Still, our life was peaceful and complete, until this horrible night that turned everything into a nightmare. The masked man stepped out of my room and began walking toward Charmaine's room. It felt like each of his footsteps pulled the air out of my lungs. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I could only imagine my 12-year-old daughter being ruined. Each passing moment was like a punishment from the heavens. Eventually, my mind gave up and I drifted into unconsciousness. When I woke up in the morning, my husband was standing in front of me. I was lying on the bed. I sat up in shock and began screaming, "Charmaine!" Charmaine rushed to me and asked, "What's wrong? Why are you screaming?" "You told me I'd be scared being alone, that I wouldn't be able to sleep. But when you returned, in the morning I was fast asleep." I shouted, "Moise, a man broke into the house last night. He violated me, and then he went into Charmaine's room. I don't know what he did to her. Where is Charmaine?" Moise looked at me in disbelief and said, "Have you lost your mind? Or did you have a nightmare? Charmaine had breakfast and left for school. Anila took her, and you were sleeping peacefully when I came back. What kind of robber leaves without stealing a single thing? You must have had a bad dream." I stared at Moise in shock. What was he saying? I hadn't been asleep. Charmaine couldn't be fine. The man had clearly said he was going to her room. I shook him by the shoulders, crying out, "Someone attacked me! My dignity has been shattered! Believe me!" Moise stepped back, startled. "What have you done behind my back? Tell me the truth. Who came here? You're making this up now, playing some game and blaming it on a thief." Just then, Anila entered the room. I turned to her and pleaded, Tell him someone entered the house last night." But Anila shook her head and replied, "No, madam, no one came last night. I was with you the whole time. You yourself told me to return to my quarters. No one could have entered this place." Anila left quietly, but Moise's eyes remained fixed on me. He held my hand, looked at me from every angle, checked my neck, and examined my body. There were no visible injuries, only I was there, insisting I had been ruined. Then Moise said something that felt like the sky had fallen on me. He accused me. "You called someone into the house behind my back, didn't you? And now you're blaming a thief to cover up your own immorality. You just wanted to hide your shame. I couldn't give you a child, so this is what you did, isn't it? You were desperate for a baby. This was your plan." He continued, his voice filled with anger. "You deliberately brought Anila here last night so she could back up your story. Ewi, otherwise you would never have allowed a servant into your room. Not in your wildest dreams." Then Moise shouted, "Get up right now and go back to your father's house. I can't live with you anymore. Whether you invited someone yourself or a thief violated you either way, I will not keep you. Besides, all the doors were locked. The house is guarded. Are all the guards blind? And how could you, a mother, say such things, even thinking of your 12-year-old daughter? Shame on you!" My world shattered. I had fallen from Moise's heart. There was no reason for me to stay anymore. Somehow, I gathered the broken pieces of myself and left for my father's house. I asked for Charmaine to be brought there directly after school. My father was stunned. He kept asking again and again, if all the doors were locked, How did anyone get inside? Why would someone come? Steal? Nothing, harm no one but you. These were questions I had no answers to. Moisa sent me divorce papers. My mental state deteriorated. I would wake up in the middle of the night and wander the house like someone possessed. My father was deeply worried. Because of fear for our reputation, we never even filed a police report. My father had all the wealth in the world, but he couldn't give me happiness in my husband's home. He couldn't save my marriage. I had been ruined in my own house. 6 months passed like this. I couldn't pull myself together. Then, one day, Anila came to see me. The moment I saw her, tears welled up in my eyes. She was not only beautiful, but clearly luckier than me. At least she had peace in her life. Anila immediately fell at my feet and began to cry, begging for forgiveness. I was stunned. What was she saying? She whispered, "Madame, please forgive me. I kept a terrible secret from you." Then she revealed a truth so dark I could barely believe it. Anila said, "Before Sir left that night, he told me you would get scared and come to my quarter. He instructed me to somehow convince you to stay the night there. He even gave me a sleeping pill and told me to mix it in your drink. He said it would help you sleep peacefully, since you're scared of being alone. He said, I would be doing you and him a favor." I believed him, so when you came to my quarter, I tried to bring you inside, but you refused. Then later, you yourself called me to your room. That's when I mixed the pill into the juice you were drinking. Then I started massaging your feet. I thought I was serving you, helping you sleep peacefully without Sir. You fell into deep sleep soon after, and when you woke up, you angrily sent me back to my quarter. I thought everything was fine. I believed you were just having nightmares because of the sleeping pill. Later, when Sir divorced you and married someone else, I didn't think much of it. But just last month, I accidentally overheard Sir and the new madam talking. And then I learned the horrible truth. She paused, then continued with shaking lips. That night, Sir had deliberately planned everything. He gave you the pill so someone else could violate you while you were unconscious. He had arranged it. The man who entered your room was sent by him. Sir gave him the key, so it was never difficult to unlock the door. He had gotten everything he wanted from you, contracts and property through your father's name. Now he had the money and power to marry the woman he truly loved. That's why he needed to get rid of you. If he had divorced you directly, your father would have destroyed him personally and financially. But when it became a matter of your honor, your father chose silence. He said nothing, filed no charges, and let it all go. The man they sent only mentioned Charmaine's name to drive me insane, so that by morning, when I would say such things aloud, everyone would think I had gone mad or was lying. Anila was still apologizing. She